Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Florida Hockey Now Panthers Postgame. I'm your host, George Richards. It is Thursday night, October 27th, and the Florida Panthers are just wrapped up a 4-3 loss to the Philadelphia Flyers at the Wells Fargo Center in beautiful South Philly, across the street from Chickies and Pete's. Great place if you're ever in Philly to check out. Get you some of those crab fries and a cheesesteak and chill out. Good place. They're all over Philly, the Philly area anyway. But whatever. Tough loss for the Panthers tonight. 51 official shots on goal. Carter Hart just all over the place, especially in the third period. He had to be good from the get. The Florida Panthers were all over him from start basically to finish, and you got to see some of these final numbers. It's woof, man. I'll tell you what. Um, from an offensive standpoint, the Panthers did everything but what we've said before. They did everything but score. Kind of like the power play all season long. They got plenty of chances. They threw plenty of shots up. Could have gone inside a little bit more, maybe. Only 20 high danger shots, according to naturalstattrick.com. But everything else, my goodness. Florida Panthers just all over the Philadelphia Flyers, but they're the ones that come out with a 4-3 win. Panthers go 0-2 on the road trip. They lost in Chicago on Tuesday night. We all remember that one. And they lost tonight in Philadelphia. They'll be flying home here any time now. They've got a practice scheduled in Sunrise tomorrow, and then a 4 o'clock game against the Ottawa Senators on Saturday. After that, if you don't see the Panthers, no, he's not. Bob was fine. If you and we'll talk about Bob in a minute, but I've seen all the social media stuff talking about Sergei Bobrovsky. We can talk about that in a little bit. A couple of those goals, I don't think were really his fault, especially the final two. But we'll get to that. Don't worry. We'll talk about Bob. I know everybody wants to hear about Bob. He made how many saves for Bob? Because they only had to get 22 shots and he gave up 4, so 18 saves for Bob versus 47, 48, 48 because they gave him an extra shot on goal. Florida had 51 shots on goal, so 48 saves for Carter Hart. It's for Jet Jack. It is frustrating. You do get goalied, and Carter Hart is a very good goalie. We all know that. And I think he's 5-0 now this season. So good for Carter Hart. He's a big reason why the John Tortorella-led Flyers are off to such a great start. We thought that they'd be, kind of the dregs of the NHL, and they still may end up being that way based on their roster. But I think just having Tortorella, if he could get anything out of these guys, they were going to be better than some people anticipated. I don't think Philadelphia's a playoff team. I don't think they're going to be in the top 3 in the Metro. I don't think they're going to be a wild card. It's a long, long season, and I don't think that Philadelphia roster can continue to do what it's doing. They were very lucky to get out of there tonight with a win. But that was a game where if you're Philadelphia, you're lucky to get a point out of. When you're beaten up that badly offensively, you're happy with a point, much less 2. Florida doesn't get anything. Let's just talk a little bit about the game here. Florida from Jump Street, right? I think Florida was out shooting them 8-0. Florida gets a 1-0 lead. Gus Forsling scores 3:11 into the game, 3:41. Nice play by Forsling, a guy we talked about. We weren't sure he was going to be able to play. He took his boot off. I guess it wasn't that bad. So Gus Forsling looked fine tonight. He practiced this morning and everything. So God bless, he's there. It takes the Philadelphia Flyers 3 minutes for Tony DeAngelo to score. That was a goal I think that Bob probably would like back. Let's try to go back into the memory bank here. DeAngelo. The shots at that point were 8-3. Josh Mahura continues to play very well for the Panthers. He gets a goal at 7:58 to get Florida the 2-1 lead back. Florida just, cruising along, staying in the offensive zone. Then Scott Lawton gets a power play goal, 15-28, to somehow tie the score. I mean, you're watching this game, and it's like 17-4 in shots or something like that. Because remember I told you about D'Angelo's shot was number 3? This was 9 minutes later, over 9 minutes later, and that was their next shot on goal. So they score on shot on goal number 3 and shot on goal number 4, and it's a 2-2 game going into the second period. Again, if you're Philadelphia, you're just hanging on, man. You're just happy to be in the building at this point, and you're tied 2-2. Anything can happen. Anything does happen in the second period. You guys want to talk a little bit about Bob? That's fine. Zach McEwen gives Philadelphia its first lead at 10:17 of the second period. Comes off a deflected shot. It was a shot from the slot. Got a stick on it. Bob didn't see it. Okay, that's not on Bob. Joel Farabee scores a minute later after Bob makes the initial save. It's fed into the slot where no Florida defenseman is, all alone, just left out hung up to dry on that one. I don't blame Bob on that one either. So that's it for the scoring for Philadelphia. That might have been the last shot Philadelphia took, to be honest, because my goodness, it was all Florida. Listen to some of these numbers. Shots on goal, Florida 51, Philadelphia 22. The attempted shots. Now attempted shots is shots on goal, missed shots, and blocked shots. Florida Panthers 105, Philadelphia 39. So Philadelphia only had 17 shot attempts more than they had shots on goal. That's unbelievable. So Florida, 105 shots on shot attempts to 39 for Philadelphia. Scoring chances, Florida 52, Philadelphia 14. 14 scoring chances for Philadelphia, and they get 4 goals. I don't know. It's a crazy game, right? So high danger chances again. Florida probably didn't have as many as they'd like. They end up with 20. Philadelphia, they get 7. So that's not as lopsided as everything else. So just one of those crazy games. Florida finally does get they go 0 for 2 in the second on the power play. I know everybody was pulling their hair out with that. Florida gets a late penalty in the second period, 15 seconds left, I believe. It leaks into the third. Brandon Montour, the guy who got Florida's last power play goal, back in Buffalo on the 15th, he gets another one 36 seconds into the third period. Florida's power play streak ends 0 for 25. I think last game I told you they were at 0 for 24. I actually went back and added it up. There was one penalty that was awarded after it, once the game was over, that they counted as a power play, even though the game didn't play. So anyway, they were 0 for 23 coming in tonight. So 0 for 25 when Montour scores to avoid 0 for 26. Florida Panthers tonight 1 for 4 on the power play. Philadelphia cashes in on the first one, does not do anything on its second. They go 1 for 2 on the power play. So Florida comes home 4-3-1. They lose in Chicago. They lose in Philadelphia tonight. Nice even split for the Flyers, who lost here in Sunrise 4-3 on the Panthers home opener. They return the favor tonight in Philadelphia, in a town that's World Series crazy, right? You saw Gritty wearing the Philadelphia Phillies jersey, and they're all fired up. Game 1 tomorrow in Houston of the World Series, and good for the Phils. That should be a fun little series. We'll see what happens, but definitely don't count out the fighting Phils in that one. As far as Florida goes, again, they're coming home. They'll have a practice tomorrow. For those folks that are interested, we're going to be talking to Roberto Luongo tomorrow about his Hall of Fame induction. That comes next month in Toronto. But I just assume that the Panthers want to do something for Roberto tomorrow. It seems like an easy day for everybody. The Heat's out west, and I don't know what the Dolphins are doing, but whatever. Good time to talk to Lou about his Hall of Fame induction. That should be a lot of fun. And then you've got Claude Giroux and the Ottawa Senators. Brady Tkachuk will be squaring off against his brother. They will not be fighting. They've been told by their dad, you cannot fight each other. So the two brothers won't fight. But it should be a good game. It should be a very, very intense game. Ottawa, Florida won 3 of the 4 games against Ottawa last year, but you all remember that Ottawa really handed it to Florida in one of those COVID games, and all the games were pretty close. I believe Florida won 2 of them in overtime. So even though Ottawa, was not a playoff team, they really gave Florida fit. So it should be a very interesting game Saturday. All in all, Florida better game tonight than definitely a better game tonight than it was the other night in Chicago, where Florida just seemed disinterested and got outplayed for 45 minutes. Will Knight play in the Ottawa game? I don't know. Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised if Knight plays on Saturday. The Panthers are flying. They've got a game, I believe, Tuesday out west. Knight's going to start that one. They're not going to fly all the way to the West Coast and play Bob. So that would mean if Spencer goes on Saturday, that would likely mean back-to-back starts for him, which is fine. I don't have a problem with it. I'm sure nobody does, but Sergey has made starts in 6 of the first 8 games. I think that's a little bit more than we thought it would be, right? I thought, but 1 or 2 either way. I thought maybe it'd be 5 and 3 through 8 games. So maybe you give Knight the start Saturday. We'll see what happens. We'll maybe find out more tomorrow. See how the guys are looking when they come off the ice, and we'll know more tomorrow. But not much more to say about this game. I mean, Florida definitely deserved a better fate than they received. Anytime that you throw 105 shots at the net, I mean, my goodness. I mean, it was just an offensive onslaught. And these things happen. These things happen, and it is what it is. So, again, we'll see you Saturday. I can't do these live. I know people are asking, why don't you do these live things from sunrise? Number one, the internet isn't as great. It's hard to do the live things with it coming in and out. Second, when these are over, they get uploaded to YouTube, and it takes forever. So that would leave me at the arena for an extra, good 20, 30, 40 minutes uploading these videos. So I'd rather just tape them and then put them up. It's much quicker and gets them up. And we're going to try and get some special guests this on Saturday, since it's an early game. I'll ask beforehand and see if somebody will join me for it, and that should be fun. But anyway, that'll do it for tonight's edition of the Panthers Postgame. I hope you check us out at FloridaHockeynow.com. Colby had a great story today about Spencer Knight and his new skates. He's got he doesn't have laces. He's got the buckles, and he's got like a boot that he puts into another boot, and it's like a thick sock, and boom, boom, boom. How much are we missing Marchment? Well, you've missed Marchment for a long time, right? I mean, he's been out since the first round of the playoffs, and the first reverse retro game will be the return of Jonathan Huberdeau and Mackenzie Weegar when Calgary comes to town. So that'll be the first of 6 or 7 reverse retro games will be against Calgary. So anyway, check out Colby's story about Spencer Knight and his new boots. They are different looking. Somebody said, they do look like a ski boot, but easier to put in because it's a thick shell with a sock that goes in. And then it clamps down. Some people say it looks like, a roller hockey skate. So anyway, fun stuff. If you want to check that stuff out, we'll have more on the Florida Panthers tomorrow at Florida Hockey Now. Follow me at George Richards, and follow Colby at Colby D Guy. We appreciate all of you. We'll see you on Saturday from sunrise. Hope you guys have a great Friday. Bye-bye.